Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I wanted to do another video talking a bit more about spiritual bodies, glorified bodies, just a part two from what I did before, because there were a few other things that I wanted to mention regarding this, especially when it comes to the new Earth, so the future new Earth when we're there and when we're reigning and things like that over the nations. And it does why I think we'll be reigning over the nations is because it says that there's trees for the healing of the nations. I mentioned this in another video, and I don't think like we will need healing. It will be like other people who will need healing, and so that's why I believe we will be reigning over nations. So we'll have like glorified bodies at that time too. So there's that. But also, yeah, there'll be people who do need healing and things like that on New Earth, and so that's why I think it's going to be kind of sort of the same as how it was in the Millennial Kingdom, and we'll be reigning over nations and things like that. Until perhaps, it's just a theory, until they get healed, and then ultimately everything gets reconciled, and then finally, like, the last verse of the chapter of Revelation comes to fruition. Everything becomes one. The kingdoms of this world has become the kingdoms of God, right? So maybe it's like that too. So I don't know, but the thing is, I think that's yeah, on New Earth that will happen. But why I wanted to mention New Earth is because I was talking about, like, is it going to be similar to like the Millennial Kingdom? But remember, so when the third heaven comes down, heaven becomes like the heaven is literally down on Earth. I think, like, at that point, while we're on New Earth, I feel like maybe in terms of our bodies, we might be able to like transform back and forth too. Like, and so like you can walk through walls and stuff, and then like we might be able to like transform like our glorified bodies to like spiritual bodies while on Earth and things like that. That would be kind of cool. Like, so maybe that will happen too as well. And the reason being is because the actual third heaven will come down onto New Earth, and then maybe that's why we can do that. I don't know. Like, these are all theories and things like that, so it's fun to think about, right? But like, so perhaps that could happen. And remember that Jesus was in a spiritual body, like a spiritual state, and then he had a glorified body. Remember when he went to his disciples the first time, he said, "Touch me not, for I have not ascended to my Father yet." Now, how does that work? Because the demonic realm was still there, because it's Jesus, right? That's the way I see it. Jesus actually went to preach to the saints in hell, to the people in hell. He actually went to preach to them, right? So if he was able to preach to them in hell without getting harmed, then he was able to be in that spiritual state, right? The spiritual body in the demonic realm without being harmed too. So doesn't it make sense that when he was preaching to the souls in hell, that's why he was in that spiritual state, right? Like in with that spiritual body on earth when they saw him, because he was in that realm. You know what I'm saying? So, and because it's Jesus himself, that's why he wouldn't be harmed by it, right? Because he's God. So that's I find that interesting. And then why we wouldn't be harmed by on New Earth by switching from glorified bodies to spiritual bodies, things like that, is because at that point we will be like him. We'll be like we'll be as Christ, right? And so because at that point we'll have glorified bodies, kingdoms of God will become like the kingdom of earth, everything will be one, right? So that makes a lot of sense too, right? So I was thinking about that, and so, but also, I want to I'm just looking at my notes here to see if there's anything I wanted to. It's also like in terms of like the glorified saints. Yeah, they needed glorified bodies while reigning on earth and things like that because of protection from obviously physical harm, but also the demonic realm, right? Like I talked about as well, because that's still on earth. I see. That's the way I see it, at least. I mean, it seems to fit. And so, exactly, yeah. So that's why they needed that. But I think that's all I really wanted to talk about, like that idea of, once New Earth comes here, being able to transform at any moment. We can walk through walls and stuff like that. That would be kind of cool. Once heaven comes down to earth and we have the final new earth and new heavens. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. And yeah, I find all that very interesting. All right, thanks guys. God bless.